weren't born on a ranch with a white fence. You were born in a dirt floor shack in Missouri, 1851. Your mother washed other people's laundry. Father drank whiskey cheaper than water. He died of fever when you were 5, left you a pair of worn-out boots and a name, Caleb. By 8, you were driving cattle for the neighbor's farm, not for money, for food, for the right to sleep indoors, hands calloused, nails black, teeth loose from hunger. A luxury, salt beef, thrown into the corn mash once a week, tough as boot leather. You chew and say nothing. You're 14, the Civil War. The men from neighboring farms march off, some for the North, some for the South. You march off for food. You attach yourself to a Union regiment as an errand boy. Officially, you're nobody. Unofficially, you run dispatches under fire, water the horses, bury the ones the order didn't reach in time. The first corpse you see is a boy, maybe 17. A cannonball took half his skull. You stare at him for a long time, then you go water the horses. That's all you can do. The war ends. You're 16. The South burned. The North won. Nothing changed for you personally. No land, no money, no papers.
A cowboy isn't a profession. It's a sentence. You get hired for $1 a day to drive cattle from Texas to Kansas. 3 months. 800 miles across open prairie under a sun that kills you slowly. A horse isn't romance. A horse is a half-ton working tool with the temperament of a difficult neighbor. You wake at 4 in the morning, saddle in the dark. Fingers won't bend from the cold, but you need to move before sunrise. The herd has to be rolling. 800 head. They stink. They're stupid. They scatter in a storm. In a storm, you ride blind through rain and mud to hold them together. Because if the herd breaks, you get nothing. The cowboy's tools. The lasso. 30 feet of rope you throw hundreds of times a day. Your wrists burn. The skin on your palms strips off and grows back harder. The colt. Not for duels. For wolves, rattlesnakes, and sometimes a horse with a broken leg. You put the barrel to its head and keep moving. No time to grieve. The hat. Not style. Protection from a sun that turns open skin into leather in 3 weeks. Food. The chuck wagon cook boils beans, salt beef, and coffee. The coffee is so black and bitter it looks like tar. You drink 3 cups and call it breakfast. You're 21. First time in a city. Abilene, Kansas. End of the trail. Cattle delivered. $30 in your pocket. 3 months of work. You just stand in the middle of the street for a moment. Wooden sidewalks. The smell of manure and frying meat. A saloon with a piano. Women in dresses. You haven't seen anything but men, cattle, and sky for 3 months. 1 week later, you have nothing left. Whiskey, cards, a cheap hotel full of bedbugs. Classic. You wake up with a splitting head, an empty pocket, and the understanding that it all starts over. Here's the truth about the Wild West. Most cowboys were either Mexican vaqueros, who invented everything, the lasso, the riding technique, the word rodeo itself, or freed slaves with nowhere else to go after the war. The handsome white hero from the movies? A minority. You're 28, a ranch. You scrape together enough money, not much, but enough for a plot in Wyoming. 20 head of cattle, an old cabin, a well with rust-colored water. It's yours. For the first time in your life, yours. The winter of 1879 kills half the herd. You find them frozen into the snow one morning. You stand and look. Then you go inside, sit down, and stare at the wall for a long time. You stand up. You go back to work. In spring, a man comes with papers. Says the land belongs to the railroad company. Says he has documents. Says you have a week. You know he's probably right. Law in the West belongs to whoever has more money for a lawyer. The sheriff's star. They offer you the badge, not out of respect, because you're scary enough that others aren't. Salary, $50 a month, a free room above the jail, and the right, no, the obligation, to shoot people legally. You've seen a hanging, a whole procession, music almost festive, a crowd of spectators. The condemned man soils himself on the gallows. Death looks ugly, always. You shoot a man for the first time in your 3rd month on the job. A bank robber, young, maybe 18. The bullet goes into his shoulder. You aimed there on purpose. He falls, screams, lives. The second time, you shoot to kill. A drunk drover with a rifle. He manages to graze you. The scar on your ribs will stay forever. You fire twice. He dies immediately. You vomit off to the side. Then you go fill out the paperwork. You get used to it. Not entirely. Never entirely. You're 38. The railroad came. This is the end. Not by war, not by bullet, by progress. Cattle ride by train now. Trail drives are finished. Young men head to cities, to factories. Ranches sell off one by one. You stay. Where would you go? Your knee has crunched since a horse stepped on it in 1876. Your back doesn't straighten fully in the morning. Old falls. 3 teeth knocked out. Your left eye sees less since a fight in Denver. You're 38, but you look 55. Last summer, 3 men come. You know them. Men from that railroad man with the papers. Old debt. Old anger. Muscle memory doesn't lie. You step off the line of fire faster than you can think. The body remembers. The first one misses. You fire once. The second drops. The third puts a bullet in your stomach. Cold metal goes in differently than you expected. Not painful at first, just warm and weakness. You sit against your cabin wall, watch the sunset. The sky is the same as it always was. Orange, enormous, indifferent. The neighbor girl you taught to ride holds your hand. You didn't ask. She came on her own. You die at sunset, the way you would have wanted if anyone had ever asked. Life's accounting. Cattle drives completed, 11. Killed personally, 4. Wounded, 7 times. Horses lost, 9. Land gained and lost again. Money saved by the end, less than a horse is worth. Your name is written in one place, the county sheriff's register. The last name is spelled wrong. Nobody corrected it. 100 years later, the movies will have cowboys in white shirts, perfect teeth, speeches about freedom. You were a dirty, exhausted hired hand with a bad knee and $30 in your pocket. You were real.